Hi, everybody. Derek Mitchell here. Thanks for very much for joining me today. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about my history and why I eat low carb and why I will continue to. And it doesn't mean I won't ever stop. It doesn't mean I'll never eat carb again. It just means most of the time, 95% of the time, I'll eat the low carb ketogenic way, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually just putting a pork roast in the oven a few minutes ago, which I'm going to enjoy once I finish doing this video today. My email address is niagaraedge@gmail.com. And let me tell you a little bit about my backstory. Okay, when I was at my largest, had over the years had issues with just my weight generally, but I was never really heavy until my adult years, until my mid 20s or mid 30s. Actually, was at my thinnest aside from now at that point as well. So I was moving up and down the scales until one point, I think it was in my 30s, I forget, it's about 10, 15 years ago, when I realized that I was just basically not satisfied with what was going on in my life, and I didn't want to be my heaviest weight ever, which was approximately 325 pounds. Um, I don't keep a lot of photos. I don't even know if I have any photos from that biggest weight, but I do remember hating what I was doing in my life at that point because of being so heavy. Not because I was a horrible person or this, that, or the other. It was just because I was that heavy and I let myself get out of control, eating what I want. Mostly it was junk, and mostly it was carbohydrates. And at that point, I really didn't even know anything close to what I know today. So at that point, I saw the Atkins book, and read a lot of information, both in libraries and online. Although at that point, I think the internet was just basically getting started, but I was able to get a lot of information, and I was able to figure out that these people who are very successful at losing weight were doing it by restricting their carbohydrates and eating a lot of meat. And I said, "Oh, that's for me. I like bacon. I like eggs. I like steak. I like hamburger." And although I also love bread and pizza and pasta and all the other carby foods, I made a decision to give it a try because I was really at my last wit. I really didn't know where to go. I was frustrated, unhappy, and really just fed up. Fed up is a good way to put it. That's what it is. There's actually a documentary called Fed Up, so I sort of relate to that feeling. So at 325 pounds, I said I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to see what happens. Like, I mean, I've done everything else. I try to, I basically tried to by will reduce the amount of food I ate, and I would always just, give in so quickly. Usually 2 days would be the longest I'd last with it before I'd go back to a burger or fries or shake or multiples of those same foods. I mean, I used to eat significant amounts of foods. It's amazing I wasn't bigger considering how much food I ate. Anyway, so I started. I said, okay, fine, I'll give it a try, and I gave it a try. I put myself into it 100% as much as I knew at that point. I ate a lot of meat. And I restricted all those foods. I restricted pasta. I restricted bread, rice, all that stuff that I shouldn't eat. I did eat. I did drink a lot of diet sodas. I try to keep those down these days. I try not to do those just because I don't think diet pop is really healthy to eat, to have even as a replacement of sugar. I think sugar is definitely something you need to watch for no matter what. But anyway, at that point, I all of a sudden my first 2 weeks, I lost 20 pounds. That's like, are you kidding me? Like 20 pounds in 14 days. It was incredible. And then I just started reading things saying, oh, a lot of it's water weight, this, that, or the other. But you know what? I didn't care. I wasn't able to lose 1 pound doing it any other way. So when I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks, I was like, this is for me. And I kept at it and kept at it and kept at it. And about a year later, I had lost over 100 pounds. And I know I'm jumping sort of from the beginning to the end, but the bottom line is It works. You sometimes have to tweak it, and the closer I got to my goal, the harder it got. So I had to watch, the amount of food I ate because I used to like large portions, a lot of food. Even in low carb, I still like to eat a lot of food. So portions were a big thing. So I had to be just a little careful that I didn't eat too much food. But I got myself down to, I think it was 220, maybe. I think I got as low as 210, 205, and then I let it go back again. I stopped doing it, and then I gained, I forget amount, another 50, 60 pounds. And I was not back to where I was, but I was, and it took a while to get there. It took like a couple years for me to get that extra weight back on, but I did it again. Put myself back in that position where I was unhappy, 260, 280, somewhere in that range, and I went through low carb round two a few years ago. I don't even remember the timelines anymore. It's just been so long. So round two, I'm not even going to give you the details because basically you saw what happened the first time. It happened the second time. It was harder the second time. I think my body sort of got a little bit comfortable with, this process and understood where I was going with it, and it fought me. So I had to really be more persistent. But I actually, I got back down to, pretty good weight, 215, 220. Today I wouldn't consider that a good weight, but I got down there and I was pretty good about it. Um, and I think I even got, as time went on, I was just slowly, gradually getting lower, and then I got laid off my job, and I was not happy. And even towards being laid off at that point, I was just at the point where I wasn't happy because I wasn't able to focus on being nutritionally sound, to eat properly. And anyway, when I got laid off, it went through a period of time where it was really frustrating, depressing, stressful, and I ate. And I didn't eat a lot, but I gained another 20 pounds or so. But I did get a job, and I got a good job. And I got a job, guess what, that where I went traveling across Canada to do presenting, and enjoyed it. But as I started doing these trips, it started getting more stressful, and also they paid for all my meals while I was traveling. So guess what? I could eat pretty much whatever I wanted, and the company paid for it. So can you see where this is going? Basically, I let myself go back up to, it wasn't as close to 260, 280, but it's 244 pounds is where I got to by the time last August came. And this was actually after I left that job, and last August came, and I was again back in the same position, emotionally dissatisfied with the fact that I could not control my weight. One of these things that I was just stressed out and not sure where to go. So I said, I'm going to give this another try. But this time, I did a lot more reading and understood not only the fact that low carbohydrate eating and ketosis, and being in ketosis, burning fat, is as a good way to burn fat and lose weight, but it's also a very healthy way of eating. I think I didn't realize how healthy and actually how many nutrients were in the meats and the eggs and the cheeses that I ate during that period. So last August, I basically um, started to walk as well. In the town that I live in, there's a lot of places to walk. You can just walk anywhere. I walked because I wasn't working for a while, and I walked and walked and walked every day. I walked for like 2 hours, and that contributed to kickstarting the weight loss. But I went back to low carbing, and about 6 months later, I was down to 190, 195 pounds, and I was thrilled. And that's just a few months ago. And I've been sort of slowly going down lower, lower, lower. I got down to 185, and now I'm fluctuating in the 185, 190 range. Um, One thing I'm trying to do is do some more exercise, fitness, to just be a little more physically fit, not just losing weight, but physically fit as well. Resistance training. I don't do too much aerobic exercise like cardio and that kind of thing, because it can cause your adrenal glands to be stressed and cortisol to be released. Cortisol hormones are what really are the big thing that causes you to lose or gain weight. If you're relatively stress free, and you're not eating a lot of sugar, you're going to be very successful at maintaining or losing weight. When you're eating a lot of sugar or carbohydrates, basically your body releases a lot of insulin. The insulin causes you to store fat as opposed to losing fat. It's a never-ending cycle. So if you're eating carbs, and especially if your body is not is very sensitive to those carbohydrates, and some people are more sensitive than others, then you're going to, if you eat carbs, you could very easily gain weight very quickly. Uh, if you're not so sensitive, if you're more resistant, then you can maintain and possibly be okay as long as you don't eat too much of the garbage. And the garbage, and when I say garbage, you may hear some foods come out of my mouth that you think isn't garbage, but believe me, it acts the same way as sugar does in your system, such as bread, white rice, pasta. Some of that stuff is just as bad as taking spoonfuls of sugar, and sometimes even worse than taking spoonfuls of sugar and just eating it. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm very passionate about being healthy. Low carbohydrate ketogenic eating has many studies out there that also indicate that can help people who have anxiety issues, um, uh, many kind of medical issues. Alzheimer's has been studied. They're even studying cancer, that when you starve your body of glucose, it can actually help when you're in a cancerous state. Now, it's not that they haven't proven it, but they're studying it. They believe that it can definitely benefit you to eat ketogenically if you're in a cancerous state. Basically, the cells have not enough to feed on, and they die. So, along with, of course, other treatments. I'm not a doctor, but I think it definitely has promise. A lot of other diseases also can be significantly improved by eating ketogenically. So I hope I haven't bent your ear too much. I'm going to go now, and I want to just say, I really love talking to people about this way of eating, this way of living truthfully. I do cheat still now and then. I cheated once a week for the last 3 weeks, but it's a controlled cheat. Some people can cheat and they're okay. Other people can't. I managed to be able to do it. I get back on to low carb eating the next day and I'm good, but other people aren't able to do it. So you need to look at yourself and experiment with your own body to determine what works for you. This works for me for now. Doesn't mean it will work forever. I'm 51 years old. It's working. This can work for you no matter what age you are. If you have any questions, I'm very happy to help. My email address is niagaraedge@gmail.com. My name is Derek Mitchell. Please like this video if you do like it. Any comments are very welcome within the YouTube comment screens. And if you have anything else you'd like to share, please do. I hope to be back to you soon. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.